Hi everyone, so I'm making sweet pumpkin soap. I'm going to incorporate some real pureed pumpkin. I do use canned, but I use organic USDA BPA free lined canned. And yeah, so let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is mix in the pumpkin, and it is just super luscious. I love pumpkin. I just love it. I love it. So one question I get asked a lot is, do you have to worry about the pumpkin or milk spoiling in the soap? Well, soap has a very high pH. It does not allow bacteria and mold to grow. However, if you use so much to the point where it's not even, you know, if it's maybe less soap and more other things, then there's always a risk. And there's just always a risk of the dreaded orange spots, and you know, just the risk is always there, but most people are pretty dang good soap makers and that never happens. So I'm going to get this blended into the oils really well. I always play it super easy on my additives. I always go lower than what is recommended usage rates. I will post a link below, if I remember to do so, by Bramble Berry. It's on the Soap Queen blog about adding pumpkins and avocado and all sorts of things to soap, and just to give you more information if you're curious. So I still need to add in my coconut milk, so I'll go ahead and do that. Just give everybody a nice good blend. I like to blend the pumpkin up in the oils before I start the batch of soap, and that's just to break down any chunks that might have kind of built up. It's a very soft pumpkin though that I'm using, so I'm not very concerned about it. And then I like to get my coconut or other milks, typically when used a small amount, in so that I can break down the fat solids, or you know, sometimes it just gets a little clumpy is all. So I like to get that broken down first. I am pretty happy with that. I'm going to put in the lye solution. I made it a couple of days ago, so the lye lint got a little crunchy, and in that case I do like to strain it out. My strainer has been used before, just before this, with another batch of soap. So I'm just going to use it again because we're doing the same thing, and it's only been about 20 minutes. So see, you can see all of that going in there. I just like to keep that out. The batch may be slightly super fatted. That's alright. I take that into account. Alright, let's blend this sucker up. My oils are just a little bit warm because I had to get them reheated. You can see that the pumpkin really didn't do a whole lot for color, but there's just a little bit of specklage. I noticed that the organic is very kind of butternut squash colored, whereas when you get, you know, like Libby's pumpkin to make pumpkin pie, not the sugared and spiced, but just the regular pureed pumpkin in a can, but Libby's, it is actually quite a bit darker and quite a bit thicker. So it's looking pretty good. I just want to make sure it's emulsified. So now I'm going to pour some off. I was gonna grab this, but it's my cup of water. That will not help me out. So into my cutesy little pot. This is a little smaller than what I normally use. Let's see, what should we do? I think what about 1.5 liters is what I decided I wanted. I'm gonna set him aside for the moment. I am not going to do any color in this base. I am just going to let it do what it wants to do. It's going to try to discolor. Oh my word, such a luscious, oh, it's so good. Wow, I just like nailed it on picking out scents this year. I am just pleased with myself. I don't really stick with any fall scent in particular. I just kind of try new ones each year. Wowza. Wowza. This one does have some apple notes in it, supposedly. I don't smell the apple notes. It's kind of like a pumpkin apple butter fragrance, but it's definitely just a sweet, cinnamony. Oh my goodness, it's so good. Pumpkin-y, a little bit of, yeah, there might be a little bit of kind of like a brightness from an apple note. All right, that's not even at a tray, so I need to speed this up just a bit. Well, this fragrance is playing very nicely, even considering that my oils were slightly warm. Like, I do feel some warmth through this pot, which is not something I normally notice. Now, I don't know if you can see it in there, but there's some brown specklies, and that is just a natural deal with pumpkin. I'm gonna bring in my sweet little teeny tiny mold at this point, and we'll go ahead and get this poured in. It's starting to thicken up, but I do still need to scrape the container. You are a delightful soap, my friend. It is just a kind of a pretty orangey color right now. Light orange, I like it. Fragrance oil brought some yellow to the party. Let's go smack this down. Let's just scrape these edges down. Such a beautimous soap. So creamy. Okay, well, you can see it's getting thick now, so I guess I'll just use my popsicle stick to make the movements in the top of this layer. It's not the top, but the top of this layer. Okay, so now into this one. I am just going to color it a little bit to get kind of that pumpkin-y thing going on. I always want a pumpkin colored soap, and it's hard to do because most pumpkin fragrances discolor. So I thought I will just put a little bit of a pumpkin layer on the top. That's just what we'll do. I made a pumpkin buttermilk and honey soap, and it is actually, it's turned a little bit darker, but it's kind of a pumpkin pie color, and it's so pretty. Oh yes. Oh yes. I'm gonna put in just a little bit more. Hello. How you doing? We'd read a lot of stuff about friends recently. I don't know why. Like, I spend the night, like, Pinterest just like the main, just like Pinterest / all type of a situation. I kind of look at that at night before I go to sleep, and I just read all sorts of tidbits and encouraging things, and that's just what I do. That's my jam. Didn't really watch Friends. I mean, I've watched a lot of Friends. It was never really like something I haven't seen like all of them or anything. So you can kind of see some color differences within this color. It is from the mica. Oh, it's just so pretty. Oh, Wiggies. I hear my puppy barking. He's not a puppy, big boy. But that's what we call him, big boy. It sounded like a play bark though. I think he must be playing with a cat. He does that a lot. Or he could be playing with a kid, keeping the boy occupied. It's a high energy dog, needs a lot of stimulation. If you work his brain real good during the day and work his body, he will just pass out and just be the best dog. But if you do not work this boy, my word, he is a pail. Troublemaker, ornery. Okay, I'm gonna have to wait a little bit for this to thicken. I probably, oh, hello. I'm just yammering on. I've packed a whole lot of orders today, and I think it's got my brain a little wonky. So this is actually a ×2 situation, so I'm just gonna work on this while I wait on the top. Cutting back in here for a minute. It's still a little bit thin, but I'm just gonna give it a little bit of texture is all. Nothing too tall or pointy. Alright, so here we have sweet pumpkin soap, and I am just going to finish the other batch. I'll see you back here for the cut. So I am back to cut the sweet pumpkin soap, and you can see that there's some discoloration lines. It's going to get quite dark, like here on the end. I can't really do a straight on shot there. I got a lot of ash on this soap. I mean a lot. And I could steam and I could wash and all of that. My take is that I don't like to add moisture to my soap. And I am not so offended by the soda ash that it can't just stay. And I think it kind of looks frosted. It kind of gathered more down in those divots. I just think it kind of looks frosted and cool. And so I'm good with it. I have no trouble with anybody who washes or steams or whatever. I just am not that person. I've used it, I've tried it, and I really just kind of like letting it be, let it do its thing. So this is the color that it's going to be. Might darken just a smidgen. So it's going to show a lighter color inside, and you can see even on this end piece how it's lighter right here, kind of darker as it's just trying to work its way in, but it will be this darker color. Now let me tell you something. I made this soap a good while ago, and I've had just this one loaf out waiting to cut, but my other bars have not fully discolored yet either, so I can't even really show you a fully discolored soap. But we decided to get a wild hair. Wouldn't it be cool if it stayed like that? That would be so awesome. We got a wild hair, and I say that it was kind of a calculated wild hair. We had it in the back of our mind, and we were just waiting to see if the timing would work out. And it did. So we hooked up the old fifth wheel, and we headed to Colorado. So I cut the lobes, and everything was sitting out, but I did not actually cut this until I got home, except for this one bar. Well, the camera died on me completely. I had been a little bit concerned because I couldn't find my charger. And after we've been out to looking in the camper because I haven't been able to find it since the trip and such. Anyway, so my husband had a message for me when I got done after this died saying that he had found the charger in the laptop bag. So all is well again. It's been quite some time because I had to let it charge as it completely died, and I don't have a secondary battery. Always the plan, never executed, it seems, for me. So anyway, our trip to Colorado was gorgeous, and we got to see a lot of aspen, which I love, just a lot of fall colors. But it was quite a trip. It really was quite the trip. I might have to continue it in the next video, the story, in the next video about this trip that we had. Because I tell you what, we had to come home and relax. Whew, we needed some time off when we got home. Oh, goodness. Like, I wish we would add a, like, movie. That's not enough to be able to take that off. I tried to take a little bit, but it wouldn't go. Oh, we probably should add a camera crew following us around because we're probably going to make a pretty good show of this one. Okay, so here we have the sweet pumpkin soap. It smells so good. It's warm and comforting with the spices and the pumpkin and just the warm bakery type notes, but it's not really a bakery scent. And then it has just a hint of apple there that just brightens everything up. This is just a beautiful, beautiful scent. All right, guys, I'll see you for the next one.